So, Luis, please share with me about your spiritual seeking journey.
It's been a long journey. Probably seeking for a good 45 years. Ramana Maharshi, Rupert Spera, uh, meditated for a long time. Um, Pretty much, on YouTube, I've probably seen, quite a few videos. I did do a session with Emerson some time back. I did see the four of you um, not too long ago, which I kind of enjoyed that that interaction. And then I've also done some work with Marson. So what's for me it's like, is it this simple? Is I keep on doubting what this is, because I guess the mind had an idea of what it would be like or should be like. And when I'm in that effortless space, I recognize it, I think. I get in meditation, I drop in or experience it fairly easily. And then in life, it seems to drop in and out, And then the other day, I had this incredible day where it just felt like I was just in this effortless space all day and nothing was sticking. The thoughts would just pass by, and it was, and it happens every once in a while. And I guess for me, I'm looking for consistency. If that's possible, I don't know. But there's a part of me that would like it to be, and it has become more consistent. But also, there's still that part that wonders if that is all of it, because again, the original idea was I was going to have this incredible orgasmic experience, and everything would change, and that would be it. But so that's kind of where I'm at, and it seems like after these sessions, um, and it's not like I've had that many of them, but after them, there is an opening and maybe a trust that this is it. And then there's, and again, the seeking is not what it used to be. I still subscribe to different stuff. And if something catches my eye, I click on it. But the searching is not what it used to be. And in meditation, which I really enjoy, I love meditating. And I love the experience of meditating. Instead of doing, I'm more being in meditation, which is a big difference from when I started. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at. And I've watched quite a few of your videos, and you know, in the beginning, my thought, and again, this is the mind thinking that Emerson, you guys would just parrot Emerson, and that's not what I've seen, which is beautiful because each one of you has your own little way of doing it, which I think is nice because you've got history with different techniques and probably different practices, and it feels like you incorporate that, and you feel like you're in a very intuitive place, when you do the pointing and the directing is what it feels like. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
When did
I
you?
also go ahead. One more thing. I've always had this feeling, and again, I don't know if it's true that there's a transmission. And in one of your recent videos, you said you could feel something or you could feel the energy. And that to me is a form of transmission. Again, when two people gather, there's something that happens in this, at least for me, that's what it feels like. I know Emerson, you know, poo-poos that, but and again, I've been to satsangs and I've meditated with different people, and some people, it feels like there's a different palatable energy that seems to emerge. And again, it's not their energy, it's the collective. It's a co-created energy, is what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel. I feel something when I do
Yeah.
these sessions. I don't. Yeah, I guess we could speculate. And some people,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just depends. Yeah, I don't say it's not real,
Right.
but I don't
Right.
say it's. real either. It's, yeah.
Right, right. I
If
mean,
you feel
this,
it, great. Great.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's not something I'm looking for. It feels like, different energies seem to appear depending on, you know, the interaction and the people. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
And that really is the value of doing the sessions, of like being
Yeah,
consistent with it. Cause sometimes the mind will want to take it on itself
yeah,
and it will want to try to wake up out of itself. But
yeah.
just being in a space for an hour where you have someone just pointing and pointing, it's really, it's really just that simple. Like, just
Hmm.
there's something that's being trained out of the old response
Right.
as we come together and just explore what's here without the story, you know?
And it does feel like there's been an unfolding of some type, and what do I mean by that? Just the shit coming to the surface, stuff, and then stuff that I used to do, just doesn't happen anymore. Some of the old beliefs and some of the habits, and again, I used to be really about control, and that doesn't feel to have the same effect that it used to. I can let go of things, not 100%, but there are still some of those moments that and I've come to the point where I do really sense life is happening, and it's just a matter if I'm willing to step aside and allow whatever to happen, and it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you have the session with Emerson?
It was a while ago. I want to say maybe, let me think here. Maybe 8 to 10 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
originally I booked a session, I did a session, and then Emerson recommended doing another one. So I booked it, and I was doing great. I didn't feel I needed it, and it really felt like the seeking had stopped. And so I ended up asking my wife if she wanted to take it, and she did. So I didn't do the second session with Emerson, but I did subsequently do, some months later, I think 5 or 6 months later, I did one with Marson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so what are you seeking for?
I mean, the answer would be, peace, freedom. Um, I guess, yeah, I guess that would be it. Just
Yeah.
happiness. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what are you without the next?
That's the tough one. Yeah, it's just, yeah. That's what happens is the space opens up, and the next isn't there. And before this, it was kind of happening. It seems to happen a couple of days before that it opens up, and
Yeah.
it's like, do I really need this?
Yeah.
And that seems to be what happens. Is I don't know if it's a letting go, but it does. It seems to, happen before the session. But and again, it's yeah. And again, we can't put a name to it because it's been called many, many names. But yeah, it's definitely effortlessly here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anything missing right now?
No.
Yeah. So what's there to seek for?
More, better. That was the big thing I
More.
got with Marson was, one of the comments I made was perfect. And that was a big one for me because he said, I don't remember what the question was, but the perfection thing seemed to drop away and the realizing that perfection really doesn't exist. And that was a big one. And that's
Right.
that's stuck with me.
Yeah, it's just coming from that control,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that believes that there's, and again, I think there's a perfection to life, Everything's happening the way it should happen. But, like I've heard you mention in some of the different conversations, we want something bigger and better, or more than someone else, or, that's what I feel a lot of times.
Right. And where's the I that wants that?
It's not real. It's a part, but it's, because when I'm in that effortless place, it's like I don't need anything. Everything is just the way it should be.
Right.
So yeah, so I do get that piece of it. It's just the hard part is dropping in and out of that. It's like Velcro sometimes, and it just I grabs onto it. And but when I'm deeply in that effortless place, it nothing affects me. It's like everything's just passing by, and it's there. But it's like it almost feels like I'm the observer of it when I'm in that space,
Right.
and we can feel the vibration of life, and I'm in that space, and it's like it's just I'm observing life, but from a place of not expecting anything from it, just being open to whatever is there.
Right.
Yeah,
So how can I stay in that all the time?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's yeah, and I in that space, because a lot of times let's talk about does it change? And the openness doesn't change, but the it feels like the experience of it changes, meaning it feels like the more I let go, that expansiveness feels different, and it feels, I guess, for lack of a better term, deeper sometimes.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm more deeply in it, even though the space hasn't changed. It feels like there's a different signature to it, I guess, a different
Yeah.
perfume to it,
Yeah.
is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you without the intention to be in that all the time?
Probably free,
Probably. Feel
most
into it
likely.
right now.
Yes. Yeah, it would be free.
Yeah.
Because that's the control piece. Wanted to tweak it and wanted to make it a certain way. And I know from experience, the more I can let go, the 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 more I feel like I'm experiencing that beingness, or that whatever we want to call it. So
Are you in that now?
yeah, yeah,
So what are you
you
without
know,
language?
more open, more beingness.
And what are you without the observer of more beingness?
Just opens up that much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you without the observer of that?
Then we run out of words.
Can you find the next?
Not now.
Can you find Louis?
Hmm. No. There's memories of Louis. There's thoughts of Louis, but there's really no Louis. It's just this open space.
Ah. And is there a distance between you and this open space?
No.
Is there any
No, there
distinction at
isn't.
all?
No. It just feels there's a oneness with whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you forget about it, does it disappear?
Right now, I would say no, but it does feel like sometimes it's disappeared.
Does it actually
And
disappear?
it doesn't. I definitely know it doesn't disappear, but I think sometimes everything else is almost feels like it's on top of it,
Right.
and I know nothing would exist without it. That I do know, because that's where everything happens. Everything happens in that space. I think that I do have direct experience of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more I'm in that space, the more it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The more deeply I'm in that space, the more it feels like, that's it.
And what do you without the observer if that's it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because what the observer seems to do is it seems to back me up a little bit from it.
Yeah.
Because when the observer's not there, I feel one with it. And when
Yeah.
the observer's there, it feels, because that was always one of the things that Emerson would say is, what do you want without the observer of the observer? And I think I've always had a hard time grasping what that meant. But I think I'm getting a better sense of what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like either after that, there's just nothing. It's
right.
not even nothing. It's just pre-verbal.
Yeah, it's just there's just a oneness without the observer is what it feels like. It's like there's no in between, I guess is probably the best way
Yeah.
to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like silence.
Yeah.
Doesn't nothing make sense or not make sense?
Right.
It just,
I mean, when it happens in ordinary life, it just comes out of nowhere. There's this stillness that just comes in,
yeah.
and I can feel it. It's definitely I can definitely sense I can definitely sense when it happens. Sometimes, and again, it's become less and less. Is there was a piece of me that would try to surrender into it, and that sometimes the control would be there, and then that would take it away. So so there's like a fine line. It's almost like it almost feels like a tightrope sometimes. If if you go into the past or the future, you know, you you lose something of that open space of being here right now. And but there's a piece of it that sometimes I feel like if I surrender more into it, but then is it control or am I really surrendering into it?
Yeah. But what if all of that is it too?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like these sessions are kind of like getting you to a direct experience of that allows the system to see that there's nothing to fight anymore.
Right.
Even the identification, even the triggers, it's like just that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what do
I
you
think
without
that's
the I that wants to change something?
right. And I think that's where the perfection comes in. It's like, how do I fine tune it so that it's more perfect? And I don't think that's a realistic expectation.
Right. Well, where's the I
Yeah.
that wants to fine tune it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not real.
Yeah, it just wants to keep thinking, right? It just wants
Right.
to create a problem. And
Right.
so it asks questions like how,
Yeah.
right? Or why or when. But
Right.
all of that is about getting somewhere,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
What's here right now that doesn't require a journey?
Just this. Right here, right now. And when I'm in it, I can completely let go and be one with it. But there's a piece that, you know, starts to go into the next or
Right.
and I think part of it sometimes is, some of the different plant medicine journeys have taken me into these beautiful places. And I think that's a piece of it sometimes. And I can feel, a similar sense, but it's not, I know it's not the same. Yeah. And that's something that, you know, because, in those spaces, there's a letting go that of like anything I've ever experienced. And I can taste a piece of that, but it's not the same, which I get. But there's still some of that that still hopes for something similar to that,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And so what are you without that story?
Yeah, more free.
Because those are everything you shared. And I'm glad you said it. It's good that
Yeah,
the word that this is coming up.
yeah,
All
yeah.
of that, what you shared is not happening now.
Right, right,
So
exactly.
the mind is remembering something and then it's
Yes,
saying, this is happening. This is a pattern and it's going to
right,
keep happening until I do something about it.
right.
But what we're looking at right now, and that's not that there's, is there a problem right now?
No, there isn't.
And because, and it's so ironic that the mind is trying to find its way into here
Hmm.
or how to stop going into the next, but it keeps going into the next.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Because you're
yeah,
like, yeah, but every time I can feel this and then it leaves and then it comes back. But it's like, yeah, but that's what's happening right now.
yeah, yeah,
Everything you're sharing, everything you're talking about is the same pattern that is being expressed now,
yeah.
which is happening naturally as well.
Right, right,
It's also it, right? It's also what's being expressed.
right,
So there really is nothing here for the mind. There's nothing here that the mind can actually work out. It's this kind of open pre-verbal clarity that just, like you say, it just happens.
right.
Not
That was
because
that was the big that was the biggest thing for a while was I didn't quite understand that the mind can't get you here. And it wasn't until recently that I finally got what that meant. But it took me a
yeah,
lot to get
that's a
there.
big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
It's
is.
like, what do you mean the mind can't get me there? But because it's something beyond the mind and it has nothing to do with the mind. And that's why, it was throwing me off. Because the more the mind is out of the way, the more the experience happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's where the doubt comes in.
Right.
And is this really it? Maybe
Is
there's
it that
something
easy?
more, right? Is it that easy?
Right. Right. Because when I used to go into meditation, I used to look for or create the silence. And then now I've come to realize the silence is always there. And that was
Right.
a big shift too. It was like what I was looking for was always there, but because I was looking for it, I was getting in the way of seeing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the mind tries to create its own version of silence,
Yeah.
like a counterfeit
Yeah.
silence. And that's where you get the spiritual ego, where we're all trying to
Right.
cultivate these spiritual
Right.
qualities that,
And that's another piece too. Is sometimes I get into this game. Is this a spiritual ego? Is it real? Am I bypassing? There's all these things, and it's like, what the fuck? That's, it's like, but that is a piece of it too, is the spiritual ego. But that feels less and less than it used to be, because I
yeah,
used to like to recite different things, and
me
drives my
too.
wife crazy sometimes. Like, Mister, here comes Guru Louie. Crazy shit.
Well, yeah, 45 years of seeking will do that to you.
Yeah, yeah, because you get a lot of information in 45 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
So even though it feels like this clarity is coming on slowly,
yeah.
I mean, probably a bit better than all the other stuff you've done from 45 years. A bit more efficient, I guess you could say.
Well, so the Bufo, the 5-MeO DMT was pretty wild. I know
Yeah,
you've done some medicines, but that was, I think that's the most amazing one yet. And I've done
it's
quite a
like
few of those sessions.
the
And
creme de la creme.
you just completely drop into whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to compare it to that. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah,
yeah,
incredibly intense.
yeah,
But also just, there's this still freshness. I
yes, no,
find that's very
absolutely,
similar in that like kind of freedom
yes,
feeling,
yes,
openness, spacious. It's
yes. The
obviously on
the
subtler
spaciousness,
levels.
the spaciousness is the biggest piece, and that's just yes. But it seemed, again, it's more intensified because you're under the influence of something, so that
Yeah.
yeah. Because I always wondered how much of it was the medicine and how much of it was just completely letting go, and that's the big
Yeah.
unknown. Yeah,
Yeah. For me, it always just feels like freedom.
yeah.
But I can't say that the work with doing all that work with that medicine, I don't know if it really, it was beautiful experiences, but I don't know if it was really enough to you land me somewhere, not land me somewhere, but stop me from seeking or stop me from,
Yeah. I think the biggest thing it did for me, because I haven't done it probably close to a year, but I think the biggest thing it did for me was it silenced the mind. That was the biggest gift it gave me, because after the weekends, the mind would be silenced for a while, and then that became longer and longer. And my mind, for the most part, is pretty quiet, which shocks the hell out of me. And it feels like that was a big piece of it,
nice.
because there was something that got used to that silence, is what it feels like. Again, I don't know why it happened, but it definitely was related to those experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely has a purifying, well, anyway.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Yeah.
It's hard to say. Who knows?
We're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. So yeah, so that, and I had a sense, I mean, I knew you said you had done plant medicines. I just didn't know which one. So sometimes it's nice to
I've
have,
done a lot of
some,
5-MeO. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, somebody with the same context. It's nice to, you know, kind of talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. Yeah, I'm definitely. And again, this is what normally happens, is when I'm doing the one-on-one. I let go, and I'm definitely in that space, and I feel it, and it stays. Um, and again, I don't want to create that. It's not going to. stay, but it seems to diminish a little bit, I guess. Yeah. And
Yeah.
in meditation, many times it happens, and meditation, in meditation's the easiest way I can experience it. And it feels like in life that's starting to get carried over a little bit more because
Yeah.
meditation is really where I got my first taste of it. And then
Yeah.
there are many times it just carries over, sometimes to the whole day, because it's the way I start my morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's okay if the mind is, if they're still, still maybe wanting to get somewhere, or it's still kind of
yeah,
in the shadows being like, oh, maybe something,
yeah.
I want the Ramana experience
Right, because they
or
talk about
whatever.
these, whatever they are.
Exactly.
I mean, you imagine they're just sitting there, totally blissed out. I mean, we don't know. We just imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they probably are.
yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, like there's nothing wrong with what's happening with this experience either.
Right, right, right,
Right? The mind will
right,
say like, oh, if we go even more into duality, it's better to be rich than to be poor.
right.
But being poor is just as much of a valid experience as being rich.
Yeah,
It's just as much, has its own beauty to it, has its
yeah,
own expression to it, right?
right.
And so don't be in a rush, I guess.
Yeah,
You can give yourself full permission to just be a human. And for me, I can say that was one thing that really helped to just let go of this kind of stress that had been built up, that was constantly chasing, constantly seeking, constantly deifying this thing called awakening.
right,
Was when somehow there was getting to a point where I just realized I just don't want to fight with reality anymore. Like it's just
right.
pointless. Like, because there was still, for me anyway, there's still this like background voice being like, okay, I'm going to stop seeking, but like maybe I'm just going to seek just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I'm
Yeah,
just going to hang on to that one little, because like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like this isn't really happening as fast as I wanted it
Hmm.
to, and I got dreams to fulfill. Like I got things
Yeah,
I got to do. So I want to like get this out of the way and or whatever. But yeah, until when I really kind of that came to light and that was seen through, and that was just naturally began to be treated as something that just doesn't make sense to follow anymore, to live from anymore.
right. I
It's
mean,
like
what
it
it feels,
doesn't have to look a certain way.
right. But what it feels like the more I've been in this is Louis still going to be Louis, and life is still going to be, I'm going to experience life in a certain way, and I'm still going to have the same personality. I think for me, the idea was the personality would change, and you know, you know, the wisdom would come, and because they talk about when you're in that space, just different wisdom comes up. I've never experienced it. If good for them if it's happening, because I haven't seen it. You know, but because you're in that quiet space and you're open, and again, not to say there isn't some insights that come here and there, but it's not like it's mind shattering or anything like that.
Well, I mean, even wisdom is just kind of a made up thing,
Right.
right? What are you without the concept of wisdom?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the wisdom.
Right. 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 Well, it's just the idea of truths, these truths just coming, and again, it's because
Yeah.
but it's again, it's all based on all the history of all the different scriptures and all the different books, and it's yeah,
Well, there's like the truths of the intellect,
right,
and then there's the non-conceptual truth,
right,
which is really, I mean, I guess one way of putting it is just the full acceptance of whatever is happening.
right,
Or maybe to even refine that a bit more, the lack of rejection.
right.
because there's already accepting. There's already this space accepts it all.
Yes.
And so the rejection that doesn't really make sense anymore. And you could
Right.
say that's the wisdom,
Right. Right.
but not
Because
because
it's
you're downloading like information
right.
and
Right.
know
But it's
what to
just
give advice and stuff, but it's like an inner kind of,
right. Accepting what is and being okay with what is. And again, it's not. We're not always going to love everything we're getting, but it's a matter of accepting it because you can't change it. I
yeah,
think at the end of the day, that's the big thing is whatever's happening can't be changed. There's a part of me that might want to change certain things, but it's not going to happen. So the more I can accept it, the more I feel free of it because it's not affecting me in the way that it used to. And I do get that piece of it. And that like I said a couple of days ago, I was just in this space where my wife asked me, "How was your day?" I says, "It was amazing." And she says, "Well, what was so amazing?" I says, "Well, I just was in the flow." That's what it feels like, because you're in the flow. That's probably the best word that I would have would be when I feel in the flow, which is everything. I'm just in this effortless space, and everything just happens, and it's okay what happens. Yeah,
yeah, because it's always changing.
right,
It's
right,
always
right,
coming, and there's also like nothing wrong with wanting to change things either.
right, right,
Like if you want to
right,
move or you want to change your job or whatever, like
right,
that's fine too. That's
right,
okay. Like we have the mind for a reason.
right,
So it's
right,
it's not about um I guess getting to some kind of idealistic behavior where you're just this way, where you're just it's just
right,
naturally like that's the in
right,
between stuff, right? What's between change and no change?
right,
What's between acceptance and rejection? Rejection can happen, acceptance can happen, but you are that which allows for both.
right, right.
So
One
there's
isn't any
no
better
more,
than the other.
yeah. And it's just
Yeah,
kind of whatever appears.
yeah,
And it's not even like, and this is where it's like, it's not really the doing because accepting and rejecting, like those are still like positions.
hmm
It's just kind of like moving through, but not as a strategy, just as what's
right,
already naturally happening, right?
right.
Like a
Whatever's
like
happening.
a tiger doesn't need to learn how to be a tiger. Like he just
Right,
knows how to
right,
be a tiger, right? But we've had this kind of layer of teaching and education and programming and culture and so we think we need to learn how to be a human. And in this world, you kind of do. I mean,
right,
so it's not like we're living in some paradise and we can just walk around like blissed off our
right,
head the whole day and not use the mind,
right.
right?
Yeah, because Sailor Bob used to always compare, different things in nature, like the flowers are going to bloom and the sun's going to rise, and it was just life is happening, nature's happening, and that, is kind of what's happening with us. It's just things are happening, and they're going to happen a certain way, and that's the way things happen. And nature doesn't fight certain things happening; it just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, it's so simple,
right.
but it's like when you actually, it's like so profound at the same time, but it's also like well, obviously.
Because I'd want the flower to bloom faster or bigger
Right.
or prettier or add more fertilizer to it. So it's this huge thing, but the
Yeah.
flower wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's kind of like the virus,
yeah,
you could say.
yeah,
That's kind of like the false, even though it's still part of it,
yeah,
it's the illusion, right? And it's fine that it's here, it's allowed to be here, but it's also stops making sense anymore to
right.
live from.
But that was the other thing too, was not really understanding what they meant by the illusion, but it's more about what the mind has all these ideas, and a lot of times the ideas are not even true. It's just something that we've created. And when we find out the truth, it was like, I can't believe I actually thought that that was the situation. And when the true situation came out, it was nothing what the mind had created.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
Right.
then I really understood what was meant by the illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like the whole world's under this spell. Like, think about how many times you've experienced fear
Yeah.
unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Like, how many times you've been afraid versus how many times fear was actually like a helpful thing to
Right.
warn you about an actual
Yeah.
danger.
Yes. Yeah.
What would the percent? I mean, probably less than 1%,
Right. Yeah.
probably even
Yeah.
way less than that.
Other things you worry about, how often do they actually happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just like creating problems for ourselves and then getting
Right.
upset that we can't solve them. But it's like,
Right.
well,
Well, we're looking
where's
for
the
something to do, I
problem?
think.
Yeah, right.
Right. We're trying to, which I think that's a piece of it too, is I find myself getting bored and not knowing what to do with that. That's definitely a big one for me. The boredom.
Well, what do you love to do?
I'd love to do different things, but when I master them, then I get bored with them.
When you master them, you get bored of them.
I've done photography. I've built a pizza oven, and a lot of times when I finally master whatever that was, or when I feel like I've gone as far as I want to go, it's like it doesn't really excite me anymore to do it. So it's like I've played. I live on a pond. We first moved here. I would go fishing. Enjoyed that, and then it just doesn't. You know, it's interesting. It's just I don't have any hobbies. I mean, the thing I enjoy the most is meditating, but I can't do that for the rest of my life. Or maybe I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you just like to try different things. You go through different phases, like the pizza
Yeah.
oven, the
Right.
fishing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
And then photography
your
and
photography
and you
phase.
usually I get pretty good at it, and then it's like just doesn't do anything at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, lots more to discover.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
what I see a lot of times is people take on non-duality as a hobby
Yeah.
and spiritual seeking as a hobby, which is
And I
fine.
think I
But
think that was the case for a while.
yeah,
And I mean, it still is. I'd be lying if I said it still wasn't. You know,
yeah,
yeah. And it's probably been the one that's grabbed onto me the most, other than maybe meditation. Because I've been meditating since the '90s, so I've been meditating for a long time. And
yeah.
again, in and out, but yeah,
Yeah. And what are you without the seeker?
yeah. Everything just opens up again.
Is this boring?
No, not at all. No. Sometimes it is though. Sometimes in meditation, I do feel a sense of boredom.
Right now?
But right now, no, no, no,
No.
no,
Oh,
definitely not now. No, no, no.
yeah. And what are you without your memories?
Good question. I mean, I think some of them are good reference points, but that's about it.
Just right now, what are you without them?
I'm fine without them.
And what are you without the I?
I don't feel any I right now. Just an open space.
Yeah. Can you turn it off?
No.
Does it need anything from you? Does it have a cause? Does it have a name?
We've given it many names, but it has no names.
Yeah. It doesn't come with a name.
No,
Yeah.
no. But there's been many games given, many names given to it. Well, there's to talk about something. We I guess we have to give it something, but in
Yeah.
reality, there's nothing that can be given to it
Yeah.
because this is not enough. Awareness is just everybody, all the different centuries, they come up with different names for what this is,
Yeah.
and it's just an open, blissful, quiet space. And I think that's why it's hard to find because there's no name. So how do you describe it to somebody other than in these situations where someone points and then you experience it,
Yeah.
and then you still don't. Is that really it?
Yeah.
Or in the past? Right now, I really believe that this is it.
What are you without that belief?
Yeah. Just breaking down all the illusions.
Yeah. Right. There's something here that's already awake.
Yeah. And it's always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the early days, I thought I was looking for something, and I was never looking for anything. It was always here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I missed it,
Yeah.
because it was always here.
There's nothing hiding on you.
Yeah.
This is already fully exposed, fully itself whole.
Yes.
Can't be added to or taken away from. And so, even moments when this feels less obvious,
Hmm.
there's no I that needs to change that.
Right.
There's no I that can control.
Yeah.
And that's the freedom, right? The freedom for just what is to be what is.
Right. Definitely buzzing right now.
Mhm. Getting high on your own supply.
Getting high on my own supply. You got it, girl. Amazing when it's this clear. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's just nothing left to say.
Right.
And if there is, that's fine too.
But I love the way you work as intuitively as you do. You're not working from a script. You're just experiencing and then sensing and then throwing out the pointers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I received that. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
thank you for noticing that as well.
Yeah.
It is just how it's
Right.
just happens. Yeah.
Because you start with everybody differently. And that's because again, I've been, watching, so one of the most amazing ones that I saw was the girl in Dubai who knew
Right.
nothing about this, nothing at all. And just was totally blown away. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck just happened?
Right. Right. I know. She's like, oh, it's so obvious. Like, how did I miss this?
That was a pretty wild one.
It was cool.
That was one of
Yeah.
the ones that first grabbed me, from the ones I watched. That one was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good because it's universal, right?
Right.
It doesn't,
Right.
it's not even, okay, we can say spirituality, but it doesn't even have anything to do with being spiritual.
Right. Right.
It, it's everyone is this neutral, impersonal
Right.
clarity.
But I think the religions have hijacked it. That
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because of religion or because of the prayer or the chanting, this happened, but it happened, but maybe because again, I don't know why it happened, but it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this clarity,
Yeah.
this is Shiva.
Yeah. Yes.
This is what
Yes.
they mean by Shiva.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they created an idol and
Yes.
a concept about with symbolism. And okay, it's for the mind though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
conceptual Shiva. This
Right.
is what it actually means. And that's why he's the badass of the gods. He don't have no gold, right? He's got the dreads. He's smoking the chillum on the mountain, kind of removed from the world of materialism and hierarchy.
Just being.
Yeah, it just it Yeah. Just being. Exactly. So what are you without the concept of enlightenment?
Yeah. Interesting concept, isn't it? With a lot of attachments to that word.
Yeah. What are you without words?
Free.
Take away that word. Where's the
Yeah.
attachment?
And it opens up all over again.
Yeah.
One big opening.
Yeah.
High on my supply. I like that one.
Your own little personal stash of bufo. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
The natural
divine spark.
bufo.
The natural bufo, yes.
Yeah.
So I'll email you a copy of the call if you want to
Okay.
watch it again. It's yours.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on YouTube?
I'm fine with that. I mean, Emerson
See?
posted my first one, so I'm
Okay.
fine. I didn't want to say anything at the beginning because I didn't know. You never know what's going to come up. So
Totally.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, if you want to be on YouTube, I can post the video if you don't mind.
yeah. I'm fine with it.
You're
I'm
cool
fine with
with
it
it? Okay.
because I think I think you're doing a great service and the videos help.
They are, yeah. That
Yeah,
and I want to
gives
start
people.
showing calls from people that have already had sessions before,
Yeah, yeah,
because sometimes people
yeah.
think it's
Because
just like a one and done thing.
right,
And
and I think that's when I first started. That's what I thought. It's going to be one and done, and
yeah,
I'm going to be walking on water, and everything's going to be amazing. And
that's what I
right,
thought too.
right,
Yeah.
right. And then and again, I think it's slowly. Because I've done one with Emerson, one with you, and Marson. I've done three of them.
Okay. Yeah.
But each one of you works so differently, which I absolutely love. I
Yeah, it's
absolutely love
fun
that.
that too. I
Right,
know. I
right,
thought when I started, I'd just be parroting
right,
Emerson as
right,
well, but it just
right.
kind of, and I think
Evolve.
that's maybe how I started.
Yeah,
But eventually I just
yeah.
kind of go with it now.
You
And
think you got your own. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's natural. I mean, you know, it's just
yeah,
natural to parrot, and then over time, something evolves or whatever it may be. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
So yeah, so you're welcome to thank you for allowing me to share the video.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And if you have any questions or you want to share an update, you're welcome to email me.
Okay.
You're welcome to book another session if you feel you need it.
Hmm.
And
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
enjoy the
Thank
silence.
you.
It was really lovely to meet you.
Yeah. Very nice meeting you also.